It's Monday, April the 20th, 2026. You're listening to the DX Today AI Daily Brief. Today, Cursor nears a $2 billion round at a $50 billion valuation. OpenAI locks in a $20 billion chip deal with Cerebras, and Stellantis and Microsoft sign a sweeping 5-year AI partnership. Let's get into it.
AI coding darling Cursor is in advanced talks to raise around $2 billion at a valuation north of $50 billion. The round is already oversubscribed and is being co-led by Andreessen Horowitz and Thrive Capital, with Nvidia joining as a strategic co-investor. If it closes, the deal nearly doubles the $29.3 billion valuation the company hit just 5 months ago, and it would mark Cursor's 5th financing in under 2 years. Revenue growth has been vertical. The company hit $100 million in annualized revenue in January 2025, $1 billion by November, and $2 billion by February of this year, making it, on paper, the fastest scaling business software company ever measured.
From coding to compute.
OpenAI has agreed to spend more than $20 billion over 3 years to rent servers powered by Cerebras chips, and will also provide Cerebras about $1 billion to help build the data centers that run its workloads. The arrangement, first reported by The Information, gives OpenAI warrants for a minority equity stake in Cerebras that could climb toward 10% as spending grows toward $30 billion. The deal is roughly double OpenAI's earlier agreement with the chipmaker and is seen as a concrete step to reduce reliance on Nvidia. Cerebras is preparing a public offering at a roughly $35 billion valuation, and the OpenAI tie-up is central to that pitch.
Next, cars meet the cloud.
Stellantis and Microsoft have signed a 5-year strategic collaboration to co-develop artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and engineering capabilities across the automaker's global operations. Joint teams will roll out more than 100 AI initiatives spanning product development, predictive maintenance, sales, and customer care. Stellantis is expanding an initial deployment of 20,000 Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses and giving every employee access to Copilot Chat. The company is also modernizing its infrastructure on Microsoft Azure, targeting a 60% reduction in data center footprint by 2029. Financial terms were not disclosed. For Stellantis, the deal is a clear signal that after a bruising period, the company intends to compete on software as aggressively as on sheet metal.
Now, memory for machines.
Cloudflare has rolled out the private beta of Agent Memory, a managed service that gives autonomous AI agents long-term recall without clogging the context window. Part of Cloudflare's Agents Week, the system chunks conversations into 10,000 character blocks, extracts entities, prices, and dates, and runs an 8-point verifier covering temporal accuracy, relational context, and whether inferred facts are actually supported by the source. A public beta is scheduled for April the 30th. Cloudflare says the memory data belongs to the customer, is fully exportable, and can be accessed both through workers and a standard REST API. For developers, the promise is simple. Agents that remember what matters, forget what doesn't, and genuinely improve over time.
And the model race tightens.
Anthropic has made Claude Opus 4.7 generally available, retaking the narrow lead for most powerful shipping frontier model. The company says the upgrade delivers measurable gains on advanced software engineering tasks, especially the hardest multi-step problems, along with stronger vision capabilities that let it read higher resolution images and documents. Pricing is unchanged at $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens. Opus 4.7 is available on the Claude platform, Amazon Bedrock, Google Cloud, Vertex AI, and Microsoft Foundry. Anthropic acknowledges it is still holding an even more capable unreleased model, internally known as Mythos, as it continues safety testing on what it describes as a step change in capabilities.
Meanwhile, Silicon meets agents.
A new contender in AI infrastructure is stepping forward. General Compute has launched an ASIC-first inference cloud built specifically for autonomous agents. with general availability set for May 15th. Rather than general-purpose GPUs, the platform runs on purpose-built AI accelerators that separate the pre-fill and decode stages of inference, allowing each to scale independently. That matters because agentic workloads generate extremely high volumes of inference calls and tool calls, often from agents that provision their own compute. The platform offers an industry-standard API, hosts a range of open-source models, and lets customers deploy their own. The company says its data centers run on hydroelectric power, aiming at enterprises that want lower latency, lower-cost agent hosting outside the Nvidia stack.
To Washington now.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has become the first federal agency to formally sponsor xAI's Grok chatbot for FedRAMP High Authorization, a designation that would clear the model for wider government deployment. The department said Grok will undergo the same security, privacy, and responsible use testing required of every approved AI provider, and will be offered as an optional tool alongside Microsoft Copilot and OpenAI models. Planned uses include data analysis, scientific research, conservation planning, and agricultural modeling. To reach FedRAMP High, xAI must meet more than 400 security controls and pass third-party assessments, a process that often runs a couple of years. Officials framed the move as ensuring fair competition among AI vendors inside the federal workforce.
Grok goes to the office.
Elon Musk used the weekend to tease a consumer-facing expansion for xAI, posting that Grok plugins for Microsoft Excel, Word, and PowerPoint are coming soon. The announcement followed an xAI engineering demo in which Grok 4.3 ingested a dense neuroscience research paper and produced a polished 9-slide academic presentation in minutes, complete with figures and source citations. xAI is pitching the plugins as a direct challenge to Microsoft Copilot inside its own apps, promising document summarization, formula generation, and slide authoring from natural language prompts. No launch date was provided. Analysts see the move as part of Musk's broader push to get Grok in front of enterprise and government users on the turf Microsoft has treated as home soil.
Across the Pacific now.
DeepSeek is closing in on the release of V4, a 1 trillion parameter mixture of experts model that Reuters has confirmed will run on Huawei's Ascend 950 PR chips rather than Nvidia silicon. Only about 37 billion parameters activate per response, so the model runs lean while drawing on the full trillion parameter knowledge base. Alibaba, ByteDance, and Tencent have already placed bulk orders for hundreds of thousands of the Huawei accelerators in preparation. Pricing is reported at around 30 cents per million tokens, and the model will be multimodal across text, image, and video, with targeted improvements in coding and long-term memory. The significance is strategic. It is the first frontier-class model designed from the ground up to train and serve on Chinese domestic silicon.
Networking catches the wave.
Upscale AI, the Tiger Global-backed startup building networking fabric for AI compute clusters, is in talks to raise about $200 million at a $2 billion valuation. That roughly doubles its valuation from a January Series A, and it comes before Upscale has even publicly shipped a product. The company's Skyhammer architecture is aimed squarely at scale-up AI networking, a segment today dominated by Cisco and Broadcom. Existing investors include Zora Innovation, Premji Invest, Intel Capital, and Qualcomm Ventures. The raise underscores where AI dollars are flowing in 2026. Beyond models and GPUs, into the less visible plumbing that stitches tens of thousands of accelerators into a single coherent training and inference system.
Now, robots in Beijing.
Beijing's E-Town district staged the 2026 humanoid robot half marathon on Sunday, drawing more than 300 machines from over 26 manufacturers onto a course shared with human runners. Organized as an endurance and autonomy showcase rather than a stunt, the event tested battery life, thermal management, gait stability, and real-world navigation across uneven pavement, crowds, and variable lighting. Chinese humanoid developers, along with a handful of international entrants, use the course to benchmark progress against each other under identical conditions. Several robots completed the full 21-kilometer distance, while others were carried off by pit crews. City officials cast it as a proof point that humanoid hardware is moving out of controlled demos and toward public, repeatable operation.
And finally, chip money.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company posted first-quarter net profit up 58% year-over-year, beating analyst estimates as AI chip demand continued its record-setting run. The foundry raised its full-year 2026 revenue forecast to more than 30% growth in US dollar terms, citing orders for advanced packaging and leading-edge nodes used in Nvidia, AMD, and custom hyperscaler accelerators. TSMC's results are closely watched as a leading indicator for the broader AI build-out, and the beat reinforced Goldman Sachs's call that AI infrastructure will account for roughly 40% of S&P 500 earnings growth this year. Capacity, not demand, remains the constraint.
That's your briefing for Monday, April 20th, 2026. For DX Today, stay curious.